Today we're going to be talking about a fun actor exercise that I did. So I did this as an actor, it's meant for actors, and I just feel like talking about it today because it was kind of an interesting thing that I initiated with another actress, and then it became four of us. And I found out about it when I was working at a theater in New York in college, and someone said it to me, and I started being like, well, I'm gonna make that. So I don't really even have a name for it, but we'll call it Actors Foursquare. I just made that up. I'm improvising. And what it encompasses is there are four actors, and if you have more than that, you can break the actor group into groups of four, and everybody brings in a monologue. And so let's say I brought in monologue A and I learned it fairly well. And then somebody else brings in monologue B, monologue C, and monologue D. And every person should bring 4 copies of the monologue. So let's say I hand out my copy of monologue A and to all the other actors in my group, so 4 copies, and I do the monologue. Or not. It doesn't necessarily have to be that the person who brought it in does it first. Because it might influence the way other people do it, because the point of having 4 copies is the other actors are going to learn that monologue as fast as they can, as best they can in this workshop-y kind of environment, and then they perform it, and they do it as best they can. It's great for cold reading, and it's great to also discover new material that you might not have explored. And what's great for the person who's invested in the monologue is that they can also kind of not necessarily get ideas, but when you watch a piece, you get different inspirations than when you are in the piece. And this happens so much, even when I'm like directing, or I don't know, it's so interesting because I feel like, or the director will, when I'm acting, offer a suggestion, or I'll see videotape. If you ever see yourself, this one's going out to the actors, so if you ever see tape of yourself and you go, oh, I now see how I can do that better. And since I started acting, being able to videotape yourself has become something that is very much more doable than it was when I first started acting. And so I love watching myself doing a role as an actor, and then watching it, and then I get to kind of direct myself and be like, oh, I should do this and this. And but even when I had started, I would record myself doing sonnets and all that, and I would be like, oh, you know what, this is a little bit better than the way I'm doing it right now. So, or the way I said this was more powerful in this sonnet, and this moment, and the way I vocalized it was a lot more effective. And so that is my little fun exercise for today for actors. We'll call it Actors Foursquare. Everybody brings in a monologue. Everybody does the monologue. 3 people are cold reading the monologue. 1 person's doing it as they would and as they've learned it. And sometimes I do it also, it depends on how much time you have, where you have you do it once, you watch everyone, and then you do it again, incorporating some of the stuff that you've seen. If you have, so everybody, and then you go on to the next monologue and you do that rotation again. If you have any questions, let me know, because I know verbalizing it can be a little bit confusing. And of course, you can switch it out if that works for you and your group, and just see how that goes. But the also lovely thing, I just thought of one more thing about doing this as somebody who just received a fresh piece, a monologue to work on, is you can go and bring it to some pretty wacky places, because you're just kind of like, you can really expand in the character role and just try it a way that, let's just do it this way, because you're doing it once publicly, unless you fall in love with it and then you have a new piece, but you just can give it in a way that is really experimental and really not only allows you to practice your art as an actor in a way that is play, but also maybe give some inspiration to the person who is invested in that monologue and wants to do it and memorize it, so that they can do it in auditions.